For more on this, we're joined now by Alham Khadkodei, who is an assistant professor at the University of Tehran. She joins us from the Iranian capital. Thanks very much for being with us here on Al Jazeera. First of all, as we heard, a lot of squabbling and debate in the United States about the extent of the damage it did to Iran's nuclear sites. How is all of that actually being viewed there in Iran, though?
Well, in Iran, some people are saying that Trump needs to be seen as someone significant, someone who does big things. So let him think like that. But everyone knows that with the many years of threats against Iran's nuclear facilities and installations, it would not have been wise for the Iranians to just leave the installments unprotected or leave the enriched uranium there. It would have been wise and predictable for them to move away the enriched uranium. And the way that the Fordo site specifically was built was in a way that it would not be obliterated, as they say. But I think the significant point here is that this issue of securitizing Iran and its nuclear program has turned into a very big internal domestic fight within American politics. So the question here is that if the operation really was successful, were there any need for the exaggeration that we're seeing on the American side, and also these angry comments and arguments even with the American media? They are even angry with Fox News, which is, completely on the Trump side. So I think what all this exaggeration tells us is that there needs to be a kind of a constructed image of total American victory, which really does not exist.
Yeah. Well, making it all more difficult is the fact that Tehran won't allow IAEA inspectors to actually go to the sites and see the damage, as well as what might have happened to the rest of Iran's nuclear program. I mean, is that a deliberate move by authorities there?
I think it's completely natural because Iran has cooperated with the IAEA for many years, for decades. Giving the list and names of the people who are active in the Iranian nuclear program, giving the list of the installations and the places where uranium is enriched, and look where this has got us. So I think it's completely natural, and any other country would do the same thing, to think twice before they continue any type of cooperation with the IAEA. Specifically, if you would think about the report just before the war started, the report about Iran's nuclear activities and whether it was nearing a kind of a military phase or not, that was kind of a introduction or paving the ground for the incoming war that has inflicted my country for 12 days. So I think it's everyone here is thinking that, why do we need to cooperate with the IAEA? Because that would have been an option to go through with diplomacy, to prevent violence, to prevent war. But when war has already happened and it threatens us any time, any place, why do we need to go on with that cooperation? So we need to think about that very carefully.
Right. Well, speaking of diplomacy, President Donald Trump says there will be talks with Iran next week. It appears, though, that there is no political appetite for that there in Iran. So diplomatically, where does that leave things right now between the two countries?
Well, Trump obviously lies a lot. And Mr. Araghchi last night said that there is no way, this is my wording, but what he was meaning was that, there's no way of us going back to what we had in terms of diplomacy and the negotiating table before this war. And it's only natural that an actual all-out war where we are fighting the Israelis, where the Americans are directly involved, how do you expect us to go back and sit? Because we were at the negotiating table when all of this happened. And part of the surprise for the Iranians was that we were negotiating about our nuclear program. And then in the middle of that, all this happened. I mean, many civilians were killed because of this. This is no light issue. It's very serious thing for the Iranian people, not just the Iranian government. So I think even if the government starts to talk about any form of going back to negotiation, they have to explain that to the people as well. So I think, as Mr. Araghchi stated, things have got so much more complicated. This could have been prevented. Things could have been much more simple, but now they're much more difficult and complicated, and Iran needs to think much more carefully about its interests and whether any form of diplomacy is going to actually help us in advancing our national interest or not.
Okay, thank you so much. We will leave it there. We do appreciate your time and insight. That is Ilham Khadkodaei for us in Tehran.
Make sure to subscribe to our channel to get the latest news from Al Jazeera.